The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, episode 15, War of the Worlds 2 recap. We'd have fantasy scoring, but the fantasy scoring is not released yet. And welcome back to the show for everyone who missed us last week. There was like one person who missed us, so shout out to you for tuning in every week and realizing that there wasn't a show. Although we had said that there wasn't going to be a show on the previous show, so it turns out you didn't watch that show or just didn't listen. Either way, glad to have everyone back because this is an episode I really want to talk about. And if you want to get into a draw for $20 DK dollars, smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me which player, just one player from each team that you guarantee is going to get purged before the last leg of the final. And if you want to get into a draw for $60 DraftKings dollars, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast, leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, and something you like about this show, and you'll be in a draw for 60 DK bucks. Paul Shaughnessy is here. What's going on?
Yes. That was the best episode ever.
Ever?
I mean, maybe I feel like Paulie and Kara have ruined my enjoyment of the season.
So this was
by like getting rid of all of my favorite characters. So like watching them absolutely shit the bed, like there is nothing better. I kind of felt like Tim watching like a Patriots game last night. I was just loving Kara not being able to do the puzzle, Paulie being like baby shit soft, like it was amazing.
So I got some takes on that. One, Kara didn't really put them at a disadvantage. She was just being a crybaby about everything.
Oh yeah, she's the worst.
Yeah, like even the math problem, she couldn't solve the math problem, whatever.
Yep.
It's not like she held them up. Like the stuff they do at the stations makes absolutely zero impact on the overall time. Like no one's getting held up at the stations.
No, it's you dropping the damn gurney 37 times because Paulie has zero. Oh, Paulie was just, we saw all season long, Paulie hanging out in his bed doing absolutely nothing. Now we're in the final. CT's not having problems doing any of this, and CT's the big guy that CT looks like he got a little bit tighter.
Well, yeah, he was running on that treadmill.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But like, I do have a Paulie take as well. But I think that Zach isn't necessarily intentionally ruining the final for his team, but he's good with losing to see them get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to win this for you. You wanted to keep all these people. Let's have it.
Yep.
And it's funny, like you look back at the history of the challenge and the teams that generally do the best, like in the team competitions, the Ruins aside, because that season was just completely stacked one way. And it turned out to be like Evan, Kenny, Derek, Bananas, and Susie against like Sarah and Emily. And that was it. That was the final. And they just absolutely worked them. But generally the team that has the fewer amount of players ends up winning every single time. Like you don't want to have a whole bunch of players on your team. It's going to be a disadvantage.
And I think with the gurney especially, one, because they're going through like these, they're going through the jungle on this little path, and it's like, it's going around and
there's trees in the way.
Yeah, bends and turns. I think there's also a psychological thing there too, where it's like if you have 3 people who are just walking next to the gurney, not carrying the gurney, it's just too many people who are like, when they start saying something, it's just like, well, they're not carrying it right now. So, you know what I mean? I think that's a mental thing. Whereas on the UK side, they only have one extra person that's not touching the gurney.
And they're leading the way.
They can lead the way.
A tree coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have one role. Those other 2 people hanging out at the back or whatever. It's just like, I think it's a mental thing where, you get tired doing anything. Just when you see other people kind of shit in the bed or not having to do anything in that moment, you get frustrated. So that doesn't help.
So if we rewind to 2 episodes ago, the one that we didn't talk about, Ashley beats Nani in whatever it was, when they had to do like the rope challenge, like sawing the rope in the UK. It seemed pretty stacked towards the UK. It's like the producers really wanted the UK team to win that one. But if you're Ashley, wouldn't you switch teams? Why didn't she switch teams?
She said she was going to switch teams.
She should have.
To try to throw it for her.
Hey, she likes money.
side.
Wait, no one's throwing the final, unless you're Zach, I suppose. But
She also-
he's not throwing it.
She also did say that she had spent half of her $1 million, which we had talked about many times on the show. Ashley, not the type of person that would like wisely invest this money.
Well, I mean, she was talking about like buying real estate and stuff like that. Maybe I was watching that on Instagram or the after show. I can't remember. But like she's going to use her money better this time around. Not just spend it. No, someone asked her why she moved back from Guatemala. She's like, yeah, I feel like I should probably, put my money to good use at this point instead of just spending it all. She has won the challenge twice. It's not like she'd Poe.
No, I know.
It was just like when Kara made that mention with Jordan to be like, oh, she's going to have to pay for the ring, or you're going to have to win to pay for the ring. He's won the challenge twice. He's won as many times as Kara has, and she seems to have money. I'm sure Jordan does. He also owns businesses.
Yeah, but he also is saying that he wants to buy a house, so I imagine the money has to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like rich.
I don't think he's poor, though.
Probably not, no.
And if you live in LA and you want to buy a nice house, it's not going to be cheap.
That's true. You're going to need like $1 million down payment.
Yeah, like Cara Maria lives in like Montana.
Yeah.
Now here's 20 grand. Here's your
20
mansion.
grand. Here's your 20 acres.
Yeah. Enjoy
the wilderness.
So if I was Ashley, I would have switched teams.
Does Kara still live there though?
I think so.
Like with Paulie and stuff? I knew that she did when she was with like Abe back.
No, she moved there like regardless.
Paulie doesn't seem like
a
Montana kind of guy.
I don't know what they get up to. Like I can't tell when like their Instagram posts are like real time or if they have them scheduled from 6 months ago. They're fake breaking up on Instagram just as a social experiment. Like they're fucked.
They are the word. Yeah, they suck.
And to go back to Paulie, he is definitely overplaying how like tired he is. As someone pointed out, like if you have heat stroke, and I think it was like someone was like messaged me like I was a marathoner, he said. And like when you see people get dehydrated and like keel over due to cramping and exhaustion, they fall over like a tree and they lay on the ground. They're not like, oh,
it was very
and like getting up. Like he's playing it up for the cameras, which leads me to believe he's not going to get purged. Like he'd already be gone. They would have already showed him being evac'd out or DQ'd or whatever. I think he's going to come back and like end up screwing their team. He'll make it through the puzzle stage to the final because Leroy is dead in the water. Leroy, who's the MVP of their team in the final, no chance he gets through the puzzle.
UK has this big lead, and we haven't even seen a drop of water yet. Think about that.
That's true. I mean,
we think about the lead that they're gonna get. Like Ninja can't swim for shit. Kara can't swim for shit. Like
Leroy can't swim.
Leroy, Cam, like their whole team can't swim. Like, and if you need 4 out of the say of 7 people, 4 of the 7 people or 6 people, whatever.
Yeah, you need.
You can maybe you get rid of like your Leroy and Cam, say, are your worst 2, but like you're still forcing Kara to go in there and swim against like Rogan.
Yeah, who's been shockingly good.
Yeah, the puzzle he struggled on, but like
he's an idiot.
Exactly, he's
like,
not very smart. But I don't know. Yeah, and to talk about the heat exhaustion stuff, I did like 6 years of tree planting. If I went back for like a month, I would plant over 1 million trees at this point. Like I've got from one company, I got like 850,000. So it's like I've been out there. That's for people who don't know. It's like carrying around 60 pounds of weight and bending over every 6 feet all day.
How's your back these days?
It's not great. Not great. But yeah, so like I've been through those types of situations before. You know what I didn't do? Quit and cry like a baby.
I like that.
Paulie is the type of guy who would show up to these tree planting camps back in the day.
Be real good for the first 10 minutes.
No, talk about, I'm going to change the game. I'm going to beat the best rookie. And like you would see these guys every single year. They come in or they're, I'm such a big shot back in the city. And then you get them out in the bush for a day. And it's just like, yeah, that kid's not going to last a week. And they go home at the end of the week and they're done. There's like, for like a lot of like the rookie camps and stuff, there's like, honestly, like 20% of the rookies that come in just don't last more than a week. They just go home.
The biggest thing with him, too, is if he didn't try to play like hero ball in the finals, like he would be good. But we saw this last year in the Purge when he got eliminated, when he tried to like swan dive off the top of the thing. Instead of just jump into the water, he like concussed himself.
Yeah.
And then he got eliminated. This one, like, what is he doing in the back with Ninja? Like, I know how he ended up getting exhausted and get cramping because he was lifting up the entire back. Like, just switch it up. Like, you can't switch in between the people, but like, you shouldn't be in the back. Leroy should be in the back. Like, the bigger people should be in the back to distribute that weight, and then it's less on the people in the front. So if Paulie's back there, Ninja's like fucking useless. She's not doing anything. And Paulie's like trying to lift up both sides. Of course you're going to get exhausted. Like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? You're just trying to be a big man, and it's not working out.
Yeah.
But that's all it is.
I guess he figured that he had kind of made his own bed and he's gotta like carry the team, but now the team's carrying him.
They're not even carrying him. Like they're
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, Cam was just like, you're making us fall behind. You just stay there and you just quit, okay?
So they gave the UK a 10-minute penalty. How far behind do you think the US team is? I feel like they're at least an hour behind.
An hour sounds like a lot, but I don't know.
It
It's
feels-
16 miles, so it's like it's really hard to gauge.
Well,
it doesn't seem too unreasonable.
So they're walking 4 miles every time in between station, right? So if I go walk on the treadmill, like just for a walk kind of thing, I'll walk like at a 12 incline and I'll walk at 3.5 miles per hour.
Sure.
And that's going to take me, I mean, if I was to walk, so it's going to take me more than an hour to do, to get to 4 miles to do it. So let's say that's the pace you're walking at, because you're lifting a bunch of weight. You have to walk in tandem with people. You're in the jungle. Like, you're not going super fast. So each of these legs is going to take over an hour, basically. Let's say an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half to walk each of the legs. It seems like the UK is absolutely destroying them. Like, they got to the one station, cleared the station, and got on their way before the other team even got there.
Yep.
So I think they're throwing these, like, the US has to be penalized in the next episode.
Of course.
And they should probably be penalized a lot longer than 10 minutes.
Way more. Paulie's carrying the freaking relic in his arms.
Yeah.
There is, like, they can make a slight argument. Maybe they can, like, lessen
For
their
what?
punishment. Be like, well, CT, when he ran us into that
He
tree.
did not hit the gurney at all.
I mean, maybe
Well, he didn't
I'm
break it.
saying
Do you know what broke it? When Paulie kept fucking
I'm
dropping it.
saying that you can lessen the punishment. They definitely should get at least like a half hour on that. Which, like, I don't think they're coming back anyway. So, like, I just don't know what we're going to end up doing that they're going to be better than the people in the UK at.
Well, here's what happens. And we saw this on the original Rivals. I think it was Rivals 1. That Kenny and Wes destroyed everyone the first day. And they were winning by probably like over an hour. And then they get to day 2. It's like, yeah, you have like a 2-minute head start.
Yeah.
Like that's your prize for smoking them in like what? And then Bananas and Tyler ended up winning. So maybe they try to do something like that just to make it close, because I think it's the reason they're not showing a bunch of the UK, because they're just kind of getting along, working great as a team.
Yep.
Tori is doing a great job keeping everyone like on the same page, very motivated, trying to like push D through. Ashley was shockingly doing that as well.
Yeah.
Before everyone just kind of turned on.
I mean,
Paulie.
Ashley is a winner. She may be a she-devil, but she is a winner.
She's good at these finals.
She's really good at these
She's
finals.
she hasn't really done anything in the final, for one thing. Like, she hasn't lifted the thing once.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
That's why she got so much energy.
Yeah, she got tons of energy. She's throwing back bug
D
shots.
is the unsung hero right now, because she
did 1 leg. Tori did 2.
that girl's been doing some lifting. She's been doing pretty good. I thought that she would be more. She would hamper, their
She
their
hasn't.
chances a little
Yeah,
bit
she
more.
hasn't at all.
No.
I mean, the only time that she ever slowed them down was
The eating,
but that was what, like 30 seconds? They just got a 10-minute penalty and it didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Rogan in the eating part was really the highlight of the show. Just feel like I've eaten worse than this.
Yeah,
It's
just
great.
absolutely.
Just mouse it back.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. And then Ashley talking about how the scorpion actually tastes pretty good.
I can see that.
Never had a scorpion.
I mean,
so-
I've never had, but I had crickets when I was in Mexico and they were fine. It's just fucking deep fried. It tastes like something that's deep fried.
Yeah.
Everything that's deep fried essentially tastes the same.
Mhm.
It's just like, it's like crispy. It'd be like having a chicken wing that didn't have the chicken in the middle of it. It'd be like empty, because like scorpions aren't full of meat.
True. So I was just gonna see.
Oh, what were we going to see?
I was just gonna see if it was fantasy scoring. Oh, we have fantasy scoring.
Do we?
Yep.
I'm going to say.
Fresh off the press. That's why I felt my phone blowing up, and I'm like, you know what? That feels
like Rob.
feels like a Rob,
Like
there was
8 messages in a row.
well, because there was multiples, so I figured there's probably the email with the scoring, and then there's probably So it's like when I felt that second one, I'm like, I'm gonna check this.
I'm going to guess that Kara was the lead scorer of this particular episode. Only because she was having a fucking meltdown at everything that she did. Which is also nothing new for her in these finals. Like, you think eventually you'd just stop crying. It's a math problem.
Scoring.
What was her math problem anyway? She had to add like 5 by 5 and minus 10, and the answer was 0. Like, is she just an idiot? Is that what I mean? She thought that Mahatma Gandhi's. No, she thought that Muhammad Ali's like original name was Mahatma Gandhi. So maybe she's just a complete dummy.
She is a complete dummy.
But like, the math problems weren't problems. The only one I felt bad for was Ashley, because I know Ashley can do it, but I've seen her in the house wearing these giant glasses
Mhm.
that maybe she just couldn't see the board. That's what I think. You could see her like squinting over at it. I think that was the biggest detriment to her. She just couldn't see.
I like just the whole dynamic of her, like, she's been with Kara and Paulie this whole season, and you can see that she's regretting it now in the final. Because, like, Ashley, as I said, Ashley's a winner, no excuses, and she's gonna, like, compete until she can't stop, right?
Someone pointed out that she's basically female bananas.
Yeah.
Like, she's not great at anything, but get her into a final and she's good at everything.
And she's a puzzle.
She can do
amazing at
puzzles. Like, she's in good
usually.
enough shape that she can run. Like, the physical stuff doesn't overwhelm her. She doesn't really get down either. Like, she remains, like, relatively positive, even when stuff's not going her way, where Kara just basically melts down.
Yeah. Cara Maria, top scorer.
Knew it.
Everyone else is pretty close.
Yeah, well, there was no, like...
The organization of this thing is never the easiest to read, but...
how many did Kara score?
93 points. Zach was 78. Paulie, 68.
All right.
And then everyone else is basically scattered between like 40 and 50, essentially.
Okay. So what I need... I was looking at the standings. What I need to happen is I can't have... Well, I need Paulie and Kara to not get purged. I need them to make the finals. That's less important because a lot of people have them. I can't lose Rogan. I need Rogan to go all the way.
that is your...
I need him to go all the way. I mean, ideally, D would get cut from the UK team, and I'd have Jordan, Tori, and Rogan all going to the finals.
That's your low-owned flyer.
It is.
That'll get you to...
But I think a lot of people owned Rogan because he was so cheap.
I mean, everybody, people at the top, but even Rob at the top does not have Rogan. That is your way to catch
but he has
Rob.
Zach, though.
Yeah, I know, but if you get UK to win...
Yeah, UK has to win, and Rogan needs to make the final. But I need Jordan, Tori, and Rogan.
I mean, if you're the UK in terms of like the giveaway there, if the UK somehow managed to get purged,
they're getting purged. Everyone's getting cut down to 4 players.
Maybe I missed that part.
That's what TJ said at the beginning. So the US team is going to lose 3 people.
Oh, wow.
And the UK team is going to lose 1. You're going to be a 4-person team.
I mean, you get rid of D if you're the UK.
Yeah, but
try to at least.
Well, it's a puzzle.
Okay.
So you have to compete at least that's what it looks like, that you have to compete in a puzzle, and whoever comes last gets purged.
Rogan's probably gonna go home because he's dumb.
But like, Jordan's not good at puzzles either. Tori's not good at puzzles. It could be one of them. Like, CT is the only one on their team who's any good at puzzles.
And is he even that great at puzzles?
Yeah, he is. He's pretty good at puzzles. At least historically, he's been pretty good at puzzles. But like, what if it's just a random one, like you're not seeing it? Like, Jordan could be gone from this team.
That would be bad news. I mean, perfect case scenario.
Like, if
they drop D.
Oh yeah, if it's a vote, you drop D and go on your way. Of course.
And the other side, so the puzzle.
So if it was,
I would get rid of the people who I think are the worst swimmers because it's a final and there's always pretty much been swimming.
If we went on,
but then Leroy's been carrying your team.
Leroy's
so
the MVP of the final so far
right now, right?
Like
Zach kind of Zach taking that time off was kind of funny.
Well, he did do 2 legs, and then he did a leg, took a timeout, and then jumped back on.
I mean, he could probably just go the whole time.
I see you say that, but what's happening to Paulie right now happened to him on free agents.
Yeah, true.
So he's probably like, I don't want that to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's like, you brought these idiots.
He hates his team.
Yeah, you brought these shitty players along the way. They should do something.
He's probably like AJ Green, who won't suit up for the Bengals right
like,
now.
Fuck this.
You sat my boy Andy. Like, no.
Yeah,
I'm just not. I'm not.
I'm
doing
a free
this.
agent. I'm gonna get paid next time around.
Exactly.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a deal with the UK team anyway.
That would be genius, right? But like, he's still trying too hard and trying to motivate people. It doesn't seem that way.
How useless is Ninja?
I mean, she's so small that like that whole gurney thing, like that is set up for. Like, you need to put like her next to Kara just to have the levels similar.
That's the biggest, because people were talking about that the biggest advantage is like, oh, well, the US team has an extra 40 pounds and they still only can have 4 people doing it. Like, the extra 40 pounds isn't all that much distributed between 4 people. It's really not. It's everyone on the UK team is essentially the same height, except for CT. But Rogan's close enough that they can balance in the back, and Jordan, Tori, and D are like all around, like within 3 inches of each other, it looks like. So that makes everything very level. That's the biggest advantage that they have.
just in terms of people saying like, "Oh, this isn't fair," just like
Don't bring 7
you
people.
you brought a team of jabronis to the final. Like you did this to yourself. How am I supposed to have a shred of sympathy for Paulie, Kara, any of them that they're struggling? I don't.
So if you're Paulie and Kara, well, let's say like you orchestrated this entire thing, so you're definitely going to the finals either way. You have 7 players on your team. Your team could have been Paulie, Kara, Jordan, Tori, Zach, Turbo, and Bananas. Or Wes, or Laurel.
Night, game,
You know who-
set, match.
You know who they could really... Turbo. No, you know who they could really...
Turbo would be killing this thing right now.
You know who they could really have on their team right now? That would be a huge benefit?
Who?
Josh. For this...
He's a muscle.
He's a muscle. Like, you just have him back there
He's
carrying.
just brawn, baby. He's just like... Get him. We saw it when they had like those little blocks or whatever, and like this guy was just grabbing
just
like
do this,
6
Josh.
of them at the same time and just like tossing them all over the place. Like you're right. Josh is the guy if you're running like a construction company or whatever. Josh comes in and just like you have to do some cleanup. Josh is there, and Josh is gonna clean.
He'd be super annoying
shit
and
right
like
up.
crying the entire time, but Kara's doing that anyway. So what's the difference?
It's so hot. My name's Josh. I'm emotionally unstable.
What they should have done is, because they voted in Josh against Jordan in that elimination, they should have voted CT in against him.
Yeah.
Because CT would have beat him for one thing, and then they don't have Jordan. Or you lose CT, and then your team was like awful.
Yep.
But anyway, I really hope it's D that gets
I hope Paulie doesn't get up.
I really think that Paulie's going to be one of the people who gets through.
Maybe. Yeah.
He's good at puzzles. Like, it would be hilarious if it ended up being him and Kara who get through with like Zach. And like Leroy and Cam and Ashley have all been awesome. Like, I feel like Ashley's for sure going to get through if it's a puzzle.
I would be
and same as
if
Cam.
it's a puzzle, I'd be shocked.
Like, if it's a puzzle, the 4 best puzzle people on the US team, if that's how you actually do get through, are Kara, Cam, Ashley, Paulie, probably. Imagine if that's your team.
Yes.
And you lose Zach, you lose...
I don't know if Kara's that good at puzzles.
She's pretty good at puzzles. She's
really
won...
Start crying at
Maybe.
this one.
She won a challenge over Zach by beating him in a puzzle.
Yeah, fair.
But imagine if that's your team going to the finals. You lose Leroy, you lose Zach. Because they can't do a puzzle.
That would be devastating. They need Zach.
They need
they
need Leroy too.
The only way that they even have a chance physically against that other team is they need Leroy and Zach to stick around. Those are the only guys that can compete with the likes of CT, Rogan, Jordan in terms of like...
Yeah, if it's called upon to do something physical,
strength.
You need those guys. And I think you need Cam too. Because the 2 girls on the UK team are... I mean, Dee's not a great competitor, but she is like pretty physical. Like she's big enough. Like she's strong enough to do...
Thick.
Yeah, she can do the strength things pretty well. And Cam's really the only one on the US team from the female side. Like, Kara's strong, but she's little. Cam's big.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she should be trying to carry this every time, too. Like, Zach shouldn't have taken the thing off.
Yeah, I don't know. I was watching Cam during that when they were carrying the gurney.
I think she did 2 legs.
There was a lot of time that I watched her and she wasn't doing anything. But, like, that's the thing. Is that there's just, when you have 7 people and there's lots of people
moving around
and stuff, it is a distraction. Like, I think you kind of look at the other, well, they haven't carried it in a couple hours, blah, 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 blah. When you have 5 people, it's just like, you have a freaking rotation.
Yeah, you have the 3 guys and the girls rotate in and out.
Exactly. Boom.
Makes
Done.
it easy.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes less is more, and that's like, just
Exactly.
because there's no confusion.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a
Everyone has their role.
Yeah. And once you know your role, it's much easier to do your job.
Yep.
Like, here's what I need to do this time around. Also, I forget who it was when they got to the station, the eating station, when you had to throw the coconut into the thing. Someone was shooting it like a basketball. Like, what are you doing?
That was Zach.
Was it Zach?
Yeah.
And Kara was like lasering them at them. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Have you guys never been to a carnival?
Ninja has. She grew up on carnival games, apparently.
Mm.
According to her. Zach just like, fuck you.
Zach just hates his life right now.
He really does. It's like he was hilarious. Ashley was the best part of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just her running commentary. Her and Jordan's running commentary was fantastic. And when Paulie's on the ground and he's like withering in pain, and Ashley's only line is like, "What do you think Jordan's gonna say?"
Yeah.
You loser.
Yep.
Oh, it's fantastic.
He's so soft, man. He's so soft.
I think he's playing it up so he can come back from this. I think he knows how far behind they are. I think it has occurred to him that they are losing by a lot.
So what's the mindset then?
So he can like rally back and make himself look like a hero. Like he
Yeah.
was out of it. Oh, I can barely walk. And then it'll be like when Hulk used to be down and he'd be out, but then he'd get to his knees. Then he'd punch Hogan in the face. He'd be like, he'd get all hulked up, and then eventually you keep punching him. He'd stop you and be like, no. And then he was like, it was like he had a star in Mario. That's what Paulie's gonna try to pull here.
I did see on like the deep web.
Oh, you're into Rob territory, are you?
This is a ways back, but they were talking about like him and a bunch of like the different bachelorette contestants, and they were all part of this. There's like rumors that they're part of like this like reality TV like agency company that kind of like they're not being like, it's all, I don't know. They're not.
I have no idea what
they're
you're
not
talking
being real.
about. Well,
like
no
they're
shit.
It's tough.
Like they're the show is rigged, is what you're saying?
No, not that the show is rigged, but these characters are. I don't know.
Let's
just get off.
I don't
topic.
understand what you're saying at all.
I don't really know where I was
like
going.
Paulie is like acting. Like that's not who he is. This is the part that he's playing.
Yeah, it was like him and that demi girl. I don't know. I can't recall it. Honestly, it was so long ago I shouldn't have brought it up. I can't even remember what was. There was something to it.
Okay.
Don't worry. Let's move on.
I'll go look it up afterwards.
Yeah, there's probably nothing. There was something like sketchy about like him and like a collection of other like
Doing what though? Like
reality TV
what was the sketchy part of it?
characters.
They like
That
selling.
they're all connected and like these agents. I don't know.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's not breaking news. Most of these people all have this like the same agent.
Yeah.
Like I think like Bananas and Wes both have the same agent, and they're a part of the same agency.
Yeah, I think okay. So I think it had to do with like that demi girl. Remember that demi girl
No,
who was
don't.
on The Bachelor?
No.
She was like the crazy one.
Sure.
I mean, I guess that speaks to a lot of
Yeah.
them. That they're basically like their agencies are like getting them to run plays basically in these shows.
So like that damn Daniel guy could have been a part of it.
Yes.
Like that's his bit when he goes on The Bachelor.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's like breaking news to people.
So I mean, it just kind of lends to your theory that he's dramatizing this whole situation to kind of make himself look like a hero.
Well, also like
I wish I had like a camera on Josh watching his old best friend Paulie struggling in this final. I would really enjoy that because Josh we used to call him Jabroni Josh, but he did grow on us.
he
as
did
the
grow
season
on
went
us. Yeah, he has
The
a lot. He has a lot of heart.
the bromance kind of started.
He has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. He tries hard. I just like people that try hard. So like TJ Lavin, he likes people that try hard. How good was his like?
The double look.
Well, the double look. There was one where it was just like at the beginning when he was the editing this season. I think tells we really should have been on top of this and seen this coming, because one at the beginning of the final, TJ said some of you strategized and schemed to get here. They're like, that's not going to matter anymore. And it instantly cuts to Kara and Paulie and Ninja, like those three idiots. So that's nice. And then
They literally told us, they told us exactly how the episode would play out.
But the editing of the season, like, honestly, if you were to watch all the raw footage, I really doubt that Paulie and Kara were all that more insufferable than like Jordan and Tori or anyone else on the show. But the cut that they got was the villain cut, knowing, like, because they cut it after the season is over, obviously. So you build them up all this way that they're the villain. You make it look like they're going to win just to have them like an epic collapse.
I'm not going to lie. I completely disagree with Kara. There is no way that Tori could be more insufferable than Kara in any situation.
It did seem throughout the season that they showed the worst of Kara.
Of course.
Like there was nothing good about it. Like there was never a time where she even smiled the entire season. It was just,
I don't think she does.
I think in 3 months that there was probably like a happy moment.
So they showed her smiling a couple times.
Yeah, after she was crying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I can't do math. That's pathetic.
Yeah, I'm glad that
really pathetic stuff.
Glad that they're going to take the season off next year.
They should probably do it for mental health reasons. Take the season off. Just like LeBron missing the playoffs last year, probably the best thing that happened to his career. It's like the first time in 14 years, or the first time in 10 years, he didn't make the finals.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're playing like 90 games a year instead of like load management 60 and not making the playoffs, like it's a big difference. You get some rest. You get to regroup and come back fresh. Start over again. Like all these early exits for Bananas, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think eventually like he's going to come back and have his peak season.
Or he just doesn't care enough to be around anymore.
Maybe. His first look this week has Kyle on it and The Miz.
Ooh.
Comes on after Saturday Night Live.
He's a busy guy.
He is a busy guy. Going to like North Korea.
Traveling around the world, seeing different things,
Yeah,
doing different activities.
Making some money where he doesn't have to look like an asshole all the time.
And they probably give him a pretty flat rate to just come on a season of the challenge.
Oh, he definitely
shows up, runs a few weeks of it. I'm sure he gets benefits for being later into the season and being on more episodes and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, he gets his base pay and then he goes off and does his other work.
Yeah,
like, I think he's sneakily probably just completely fine with how it's
Oh, I'm sure he is too. But because you get paid for the amount of seasons that you've been on.
Yeah.
Like, that's like what your flat rate is. I believe that's how it works. I think he's been on 19 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So with CT, Kara's been on like 14. Leroy said this is his 11th. Feel bad for Leroy. I'd like to see him win. I don't think that they're going to win.
Leroy did what he had to do this season.
Yeah,
he had to tie himself.
No, he didn't. He fucked it up.
Yeah, but
he voted in Tory, and if he didn't vote in Tory that time, he's on the other side of the alliance, and the U.S. team is Zach, Josh, Jordan, Tory, Leroy, Nani, which is a better team.
Yeah,
they probably would have kept Paulie.
Yeah, but Pat, he's getting it in there.
He is getting it in. But
so,
like,
what
do
is he?
Do you think Leroy has issues getting it in his real life?
No, but like, what's he supposed to do? He's gonna have to stay with the girl he's sleeping with.
He doesn't have to.
I guess
Rogan tried to get out of it.
He can pull a Rogan. And I can't. Yeah, well, that's for
like Leroy's
story,
a good-looking, famous person. Yeah. Give him an extra $250K.
Living like the Vegas nightclub life, basically. Yeah,
he's like a D-list celebrity in Vegas who people recognize when they're out drinking. I think he's doing fine.
Yeah,
in the hookup department.
Yeah,
he's also a barber.
He likes Cam.
I like Cam too. Although I think she talks a big game for someone who's never accomplished anything. It's like Paulie.
I feel like you've been talking her up pretty big this episode. That's my general mentality is Cam talks up like way too much of a game, and
I think in general she does, but I thought in this, like the four best players on the U.S. team were Zach, Ashley, Cam, and Leroy by far. Because the other three were just total duds.
I guess so.
They were. Like, those were the four that you would want to have going forward. Because the other three, like, completely shit the bed.
Well, Ninja's just too small. Like, that freaking gurney probably weighs, like, 4 times the amount that Ninja does.
Sure. Isn't she supposed to be, like, super strong? Isn't that, like, her deal?
It's more functional strength than,
body
physical.
weight strength?
Like, I bet you her deadlift is nothing too serious, but, like, you get that girl on a rock wall, and she's...
Sure. Yeah, she can do body weight perfectly.
Exactly.
When I used to wrestle in high school, there was this, like, little dude. He was probably, like, 5'4". Super, like, jacked, but he could do this thing called the flagpole, where there was, like, a ladder on the wall in the gym, and he could climb the ladder and take one rung like this, and then put his arm, he'd be climbing the ladder like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he'd grab it like this, and then he'd put his other hand on the one above it, and he could put himself out like a flag.
Okay, yeah.
It was like, there's no way that's ever happening for me. That's just...
No.
You know how much strength that takes? He used to wrestle. Like, he weighed like 80 pounds less than me.
You need, like, absurd strong core just to keep your body straight.
Yeah. But like just
like your arms have to be super jacked.
Your traps need to be so
your arms, but then your core. Most of us naturally, with just like our body is just gonna fold down.
You wouldn't even be able to prop yourself up.
I wouldn't even get remotely close. Like don't get me wrong about that.
Were you surprised to learn that Paulie only weighs 150 pounds?
No, he's really short.
How short is he?
Like 5'6", I'm guessing. Like he's not that much taller than Kara, and I assume Kara is like 5'3", 5'4".
So if he's 5'6", but he has a lot of muscle. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's just the way it looks because he's small.
Fluff muscle. Stay down, Paulie. Stay down.
Well, maybe it works out that, I mean, if you're going to retain like that sort of 6-pack and like be that cut, probably means like you're not getting enough carbs and stuff like that.
Dehydrated.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like CT's probably doing great. He's fucking carb loading the night before, having some water. He's good to go. Mm-hmm. He's got energy for days. And even like Rogan, because Rogan's like jacked and he is kind of ripped, but he's not like, Paulie is like cut. Mm-hmm. Even Jordan's not really cut. Zach's not cut. They're in really good shape and they're like big.
Zach is pretty cut.
He's not cut like Paulie.
This season?
He's not. Like when he takes off his shirt, he doesn't have like an 8-pack like he used to.
Do you have? I'll pull it up. You have timing on the go. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look at some shirts off photos here.
Yeah, I mean, I
just a couple dudes looking
Yeah,
at some shirts off photos of their favorite reality stars.
I can pull up the episode from last night. I have it on my phone.
I want to see Zach, and I want to see Paulie, and I want to. I'm gonna put my MMA weigh-in glasses on and kind of have a look at it.
Turn this down here. I'll try to fast forward. Can you fast forward on this? On my phone? Phone TV it's so great. Look at that. I can just start watching the episode on my phone. No big deal.
Okay. Whoa.
What did you think of TJ's ADR line? The very clear, like, you can't break the gurney. It is very clearly he did not say that at the time.
I think he does all of them after the fact. That's why the Paulie Pakara you guys did this season.
Okay, there's a perfect clip of Zach right there. Like, he's not. Now I got to go back.
I gotta see them abs.
All right, so here comes the abs. Don't worry, it'll go off here in a sec. Like, I'm not saying he's in bad shape. He's just not like cut like he used to be.
I see abs.
I can see abs, but it's
Let's
not.
see Paulie. Paulie never shows has his shirt off.
Yeah, well, he does in some of the stuff. I don't think he did in this episode, but he does like normally has a 6-pack on the go.
Okay. I mean,
it just looks like he's much easier to be dehydrated. It looks like he's not eating.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, that's the only way that you can really maintain that look for that long.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for 3 months. I did enjoy that he said.
And yeah, if you're doing long distance type of grind like that, like back in, I know I always talk my tree planting days, and people are like, why don't you shut up about your tree planting?
I feel like no one has ever said that. I think people like your tree planting stories.
The thing about it is that like when you did that job, I was eating like 5,600 calories, 5,000 to 6,000 calories every
like the Michael
day.
Phelps diet.
You are literally, you have to.
So it's like
if he's like doing like a ketogenic diet or something just to keep like, to keep that form, that's great and all for everything except for a long-term endurance. When you have to do like a long distance endurance type of work or
carbs,
you
water,
you need carbs, water, and like
electrolytes.
You gotta load that body up, man. Like I remember one time we had fish and I had like 12 pieces of fish. Nobody wanted to have it, but I had like 12 pieces of fish, a whole bunch of rice. Like it was absurd the amount of food. And then the next morning I woke up and had like 7 eggs. Like the amount of food I was consuming was absurd. But that's because I knew 4 p.m. on that next day of work, when my body starts shutting down because it's burned through all of that already. Like you need it. You're basically storing all of this food that seems like way too excess. The problem is with that too is that you would go out there, you would build up an appetite, and then your body got accustomed to eating 5,000 calories every single day, and literally within 2 weeks of coming back from that, you obviously within time you get back to a little bit more of a balanced type of diet, but yeah, I would get back, and yeah, within 2 weeks you put on like 15 pounds, no problem. Because your body just...
Well, and you've lost so much anyway, even despite the fact... But I remember when there was a Michael Phelps feature, probably like the 2008 Olympics, and they went through like his workout regimen and his diet like for swimming. And I think he said he was eating 13,000 calories a day.
That makes... Olympic level.
And he was in the pool like 7 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd come out and like have some McDonald's.
Exhausting.
Then he had to wait his half an hour before getting back in because you can't eat then swim. You got to wait the half hour. You don't want to cramp up.
Or it's like the NFL players, especially the linemen and stuff, during like training camp. Those guys have to eat like 8,000 calories a day because they're going
to lose it over the season.
They're trying to keep a whole bunch of mass on, which is difficult when you're in the summer down south training and sweating a whole bunch. But like those guys, just to maintain it. So like for me, it was like I was eating 5,000 calories a day and losing weight still. For those guys, they're eating the extra 3,000 calories because they want to actually maintain the size that they have.
Yeah, and you have to bulk up the extra pounds in training camp because you just don't have the same sort of time over the next 17 or potentially 20 weeks. You're going to deteriorate as you go along.
It's just science, Paulie. It's just science.
Paulie just wants those hot abs for those pics, though.
I mean,
I get it, but I'm not also running 16 miles.
Maybe he's not worried about winning. I guess, maybe he's not worried about winning $250,000, $500,000 if you consider him and Kara sharing it together. When all you need is a nice 6-pack for those Instagram posts.
Maybe.
Make that Instagram money.
If it got down to it, in the Purge, let's say for Team UK, CT qualifies, D qualifies, and Rogan qualifies. And it's down to Jordan and Tori.
Yikes.
Does Tori stop and throw herself out so Jordan can go to the finals? The team would be better with Jordan than Tori.
And they're sharing
the money either way.
Yeah.
Do you think he would just drop out? I think she would.
Seems like a good idea.
I don't think Kara would for Paulie. I'd still rather have Paulie at this point than Kara. Especially if there's swimming left. I'd chance it with Paulie. At least he can swim.
In the current situation, though, maybe Kara's not so outlandish to just let Paulie go home.
If you're going to let Paulie go home, you let him go home now. You leave him in the fucking jungle and be like, you're off the team.
Yes.
Beat it.
Stay down.
Yeah.
I actually whispered that on my TV.
Well, Cam was telling...
oh, get up. Stay down.
Well, Cam's the only one being realistic about it. Just being like, stay there. Like, you're killing us.
Mm-hmm. He absolutely is. He is the weak link on their team right now. He is causing them... He made them drop that gurney so many times. Now their gurney's broken. They're going to get penalized.
And they're trying to blame it on CT.
It is.
Which was my single favorite moment of the episode. Just choo-choo!
Yeah.
And then him yelling at TJ. Fuck off, TJ.
Yeah, they were teasing him. They were like,
why is Paulie zigzagging to be in your way in the first place?
Exactly.
Deep elbowing ninja. I loved it.
What he should have done, and here was the strategy. Maybe they probably said this and it just didn't make the air. It didn't get cut. Rather than affect their gurney, what if he just like threw like a teep kick at them?
A what?
I just like kicked them.
Kicked them? Like kicked their legs
out? Like a front kick.
Well, they didn't say
right to his chest. Just like kick him to push him, or just like push his body. Don't touch the gurney.
That's the thing. They never mentioned anything about touching the people. Although I
imagine they probably said that as well. It just didn't make it. It was just assumed.
I think that this wasn't even a rule until the UK team got up by so much that they're like, we need to slow them down. Like, we don't even have a show.
That is a greasy theory right there.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They cut legs out of the final in the Hunter Ashley one.
Yeah. Because they're like, this is so bad that like, yeah, they're like an hour ahead, and they're like, this is not even gonna be competitive.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Producers like, I don't know what to do. Like, I got an idea.
Yeah. You're penalized, pal.
Oh,
shit.
All of a sudden they get around the corner. It's just like 10 minutes. It's like, this is bullshit.
I actually think the 10 minutes works to their advantage. They get to like chill out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, because those guys don't get breaks.
Yeah, and they hadn't.
Unlike Paulie, who had like 37.
Yeah, and they hadn't stopped. Like, they stopped the other parts, but they were still doing things. Like, they can't do anything there. They have to legitimately sit there. Just don't cramp up, and it's really going to help you out. Yep. Especially when the other team is so fucking far behind. And don't seem to be catching up. Like, even though the UK team is sitting down, the US still isn't catching up. They're stalled. And they're going to get a penalty. Like, they have to.
They have to. They're literally carrying the idol or the relic in their hand.
Well, I think Ashley made the point, or at least it seemed to be what she was implying, being like, fuck the penalty. We'll take the penalty. Because we're not doing it this way.
Yeah.
We can't do it this way. So whatever the penalty is, let's just take it and get going. Which is not a crazy idea.
Who would... sorry, they're doing the puzzle.
I think that's
if you could just get rid of... Yeah, I guess if you could get rid of 3 people on that team.
I'd keep the 3 guys. I'd keep Paulie, I'd keep Leroy, I'd keep Zach, and I'd keep Cam. Right now?
No, Ashley.
Yeah, I'd probably launch Paulie and keep Ashley, because Paulie's dust at this point. I'd keep Leroy and Zach. I mean, if they're swimming...
I would keep Ashley instead of Cam. I mean, one person has won 2 challenges. One person's done fuck all.
I'd probably keep both of them. But if you had to keep the 3 guys, yeah, you're probably right. Ashley is probably one. Although I think Cam at this point, she doesn't seem to be tired for one thing, which is good. Yeah. Like, she's not having meltdowns all the time.
She's always got energy in the confessional booth.
She does.
Yep.
But like, where like Kara's breaking down, Ninja's not strong enough to do anything, Paulie's breaking down, just like keep the other 4. Just go on your way. Keep your 4 healthiest people.
I mean, Ninja is getting a bad rap this season though. Like, this is the only girl. This is the only girl who finished that challenge last year.
Sure, but she also sucks. Like, everyone hates her. I hate her. She's the worst.
Oh, I agree.
That's why she gets a bad rap.
I just mean athletically, I think she's getting a bad rap. I think she is better than we're giving her credit.
Sure. How about this theory?
Like Ninja versus D. Who would you rather have on your team?
In this challenge, I'd rather have D.
For the first leg of this challenge, I'd rather have D.
I think I'd rather have D the entire way through.
The entire way through, I
Even
would take
if
Ninja.
it's swimming, I'd rather have D. At least she tries. Ninja's like, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
And she's annoying. Like that.
she is annoying.
That's a big part of this too. Like Tori and D have both been like super upbeat the entire time.
They're good team players.
Positive, motivating. Nothing really like, even when stuff like started going wrong and they fell behind, it was like no big deal. Well, CT was like, we have like 12 miles to go. We don't need to go catch them right. And that's what the US was trying to do. They were trying to keep pace, not being like this is a 2-day event.
That's what Jordan said too. He's just like, we are keeping a pace that's just going to kill them.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to keep our pace.
And they ended up gassing out because they're idiots.
Mhm.
And like George just called them a team full of layups. You kept all the layups and they're all on one team. Way to go.
Yeah, calling them all layups is a bit of a stretch.
It's just
but
funny though.
It is funny.
Especially because they actively got him off the team. Now,
Like they really screwed themselves, and that's why Rob was going on about things being fair. Rob is like a university student, so he still has this like mentality that like life
is fair.
That
Yeah.
life is fair in situations. We love Rob. Don't get you wrong about that.
yeah, but he exists in his safe space.
He's I remember kind of having the mentality about certain things that he has, like when I was in university as well. And yeah, he's like, oh well, it's unfair. Just like they literally decided to make their team, like they built this team for themselves to go to the final.
Built the UK team.
And they
That was their
they
doing.
built
They built the
they
team to
built
beat them.
up their opponent. Like
Well-
their opponent was pretty. Think about what was going on at the beginning of the season. The US absolutely crushed the UK in every single event. And then all of a sudden, like CT was their best CT was their voice of reason. CT was like the best person on their team by far.
And Theo.
Now, then they get Jordan and Tori, like game changer.
Yeah, well, the people will say that like the biggest thing that happened to benefit the UK team was Kaylee getting Purge. Like if Kaylee was in this
Sure.
final, like if it just the teams existed as they did that day,
Yeah.
and you had Kaylee in this final, I don't think it really would have made that big of a difference because you just wouldn't get her to do anything.
Yeah.
It's not like she's gonna pass out.
You're not letting her carry that.
No,
damn
because you would
thing.
have Joss as well too. You'd have Jordan. You'd have the 4 guys. They just carry the entire leg.
Yeah.
You'd be fine. And if you had to sub in Deer Tori, so be it. Someone did mention that Kara, as like when she's won and done well, usually as an individual. Like she won Bloodlines, but that season was just terrible.
Their cousin.
Yeah. And
That season was actually the worst. Remember they I think we've talked about it before when they had to just stand in a subway station
Do you
for like 9 hours.
do you remember who they beat in the finals?
So budget.
They beat Jenna and her cousin,
Yeah,
who were terrible.
yeah.
And they beat Corey and his cousin. Like Corey blew out his knee at one point during the finals. Could barely walk.
Yeah.
And that's who they beat. And she won Final Reckoning
They did power walking around like an Olympic stadium at the end.
as an individual. So I think she's just better. Like she's good at eliminations. She's good at daily missions when it doesn't involve working with anyone else. The moment you ask her to work with anyone, she is awful.
So and that's another thing that Jordan says is that she just
Yeah, you don't want to work with her. I don't want her on my team.
Yeah.
He's right.
She doesn't work well as a team ever.
And Jordan does. Jordan's a good team player. Yeah, just know your role. Just know that he's the best guy and go on from there. Everyone seems to acknowledge that he is the best.
I miss Turbo.
Well, Turbo did it to himself. Also, Ashley screwing her team. Ashley was the one that got Turbo kicked off.
It's true.
She went and ratted to him and like made him freak out.
Think about how much better they would be if they still had Turbo around right now.
How much would he be losing it at Paulie right now?
Oh,
That would just be worth. Just bring
'Cause
Turbo back.
think about Turbo in the final last year. It's like that guy almost
he like blew his
that
hamstring
guy
out.
almost died in the desert, and he still got back up and he got back up. Like I thought he was dead. I thought Kurt Turbo was dead for a second, and he gets back up and he ends up winning the damn thing. Like,
Maybe that's what Paulie's trying to recreate here. He's trying to have his Turbo moment. I can see him being that diluted.
yeah. The problem is
Turbo's Turbo, Paulie's Paulie.
yeah, Turbo's Turbo, Paulie's Paulie. Turbo only had to rely on Turbo. Paulie has to rely on all the jabronis that Paulie kept around.
It's true. All right, I'll do it.
I think we wrapped that up pretty good.
I am excited for next week. I'm excited to see how this concludes. I just want to see who gets purged.
Oh, I just want to see him go home.
What if they win?
They won't.
I really hope they don't.
Based on like that, based on the little few weeks ago, what they had like Paulie, Tori, Kara, and Jordan all on like the after show. I could just sense that one, Paulie was at peace with it. Maybe it's because he's like just being gracious in defeat. Kara was like, we could have been on teams. We could have been on teams if you want to, which led me to believe you're Jordan, Tori, they're winning this thing.
Hope so.
It's over.
If Jordan wins, I think it's the greatest challenge season anyone's ever had.
It's pretty good.
He's dominated the dailies when he was on the US. He won 3 eliminations. He's going to be the best guy on a UK team.
Yeah. He got rid of Turbo, who's just like his biggest competitor.
Yeah. Smart, savvy guy with an assist from Ashley.
Yep.
Right. Paul Shaughnessy, you can follow him on Twitter at Paul Shag. Dogger Pass Podcast, the UFC show, is up right now. I don't think the card has started yet. So is there any like good bet on the card? Any of the fights?
Not loving it. Not loving it.
Do Cody have any guy like this guy?
Not really. Like we were pretty like we both generally liked all of the favorites.
No, that's never good.
The lines have been out for a while. I don't see too much value. There could be some good live betting opportunities in a few of the fights, but go Buffalo. Go Buffalo Bills.
Bills, let's go Buffalo.
Bills money line this week. That's what I'm on.
They're going to lose by like 40.
I know.
I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME, Twitter, Instagram, and the Facebooks. If you want to get into a draw for $20 DK, smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and tell me which player for sure from each team is going to get purged before the second leg of the final in next week's episode of the Challenge War of the Worlds 2. And if you want to get into a draw for $60 DK, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something you like about this show, and you'll be in the draw for $60 DK. Winners announced on Monday. That'll do it. Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!